90% of millionaires make their money through real estate is a myth. What happens is they make their money and then they put it in real estate. And that's because real estate is a headache. And that's the best case scenario for most of us. There's liability. In fact, the last Airbnb I made an offer on, 3 Airbnb guests died at that same lake, White Lake in New York. You've got the fires in California, insurance. You've got squatters as well to worry about. I am going to tell you how to do Airbnb right from the beginning, which is when we make the investment, and it's also when most hosts make their first and biggest mistake. My name is Danny and I am an Airbnb investor and property manager. Every one of my properties, I double, triple, or quadruple the income from the prior owner or property manager. In this video, I'm going to take you through my process, and that is how do we find a market and then a micro neighborhood, which I will define when we get to that section. And then ultimately, how do we decide on a short-term rental? Now, warning, before we get started, there is multiple steps to this process. If you complete these steps and they make sense, of course, if they don't, post your comment below, then you are setting yourself up for virtually guaranteed success, or as close as you can get to that as possible in your Airbnb, your short-term rental career. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a spreadsheet that is available to my program participants, but this is the first video where I'm going to reveal that spreadsheet to the public, and I'm going to go through each tab and tell you what I am doing in order to identify the most profitable STRs in the markets that I'm looking at. First up is the market. This is where maybe most hosts are a little bit concerned, they don't know what to do. So let me take you through what you should do based on what I did. It's fun because it's super open-ended. Just brainstorm. Where do you think you might be able to invest in an Airbnb? Somewhere that you're familiar with, someone that you're not familiar with. So here's how I did it. The first thing I thought of was, what kind of guests do I want? So I thought, okay, what about like elderly guests? You know, they're retired, they're all year round traveling, they have more money than younger folks. So I researched forums and I came to a few different places, and one of those was Kanab, Utah, which is between like 3 big national parks. It was high up on retired folks' travel lists. Now, the reason why I did not end up investing there, and we'll get to this when we run the numbers, is because based on my metrics that I know is going to set me up for success, these houses were too expensive and the revenue I could have expected was too low. So then back to the drawing board, and I thought, well, all right, I like this idea of like good guests. So what about medical facilities? We know that the USA is world renowned for various medical practices. They are the most expensive though. So, okay. So what are the medical expenses in the medical facilities in the US, which people are flying to all year round demand, great guests, they have money, and they're gonna stay for a little bit longer. Maybe instead of the average 3.5 nights, maybe they stay for a week, 10 days. So then I got a list of all of these places, but again, all of these facilities that I found were in bigger cities with really excessive home prices and really restrictive STR laws for the income that I was going to get. So I went on to the drawing board and I thought, okay, the last thing I did was I got a map and I placed, actually, I'm going to share that with you now. I placed every single airport on this map, and then I placed also every single city with more than 100,000 residents. And what I did is I went into this map west to east and I looked for where are there a bunch of large cities and a bunch of airports within 3-hour drive. Okay, and I ended up going over here to the New York area. Okay, so I saw there was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sometimes big cities with 100,000 residents or more. There was 2, 3, 4, 5 airports all within 3 hours drive. And I chose 3 because I know that as an American, we think that 3 hours is drivable, 4 may be drivable, 5 may be also drivable depending on the area, but 3 definitely is drivable for like a weekend vacation. And then of course the nearby airports make it also an potential international destination. So what I did with that market data is I actually plotted it on this spreadsheet, which you're looking at now. And then I'll get to this at the end. This is something that I did myself and I think it was pretty valuable. But I looked at all the rooms and I looked at AirDNA and I posted their certain metrics, and then I kind of averaged those out to figure out which ones are the most of interest to me. And so the main things I was looking at was, right now we're kind of general, we're general. So I'm looking at the average home price in that market. And then I'm looking at the average revenue in that market and comparing those two. Now this column D here was reviews on the first page, and I have what actually I did in the notes here. So I zoomed out 7 times on the Airbnb map, 7 of 18 potential zooms. And then I counted the reviews on that first page. And my theory was, if there's more reviews on the first page, that's a good sign. Because if listings have an average of 200 reviews per listing, that means that Airbnb was active for many, many years. Why would an Airbnb be active for many, many years? And more than that, why would various Airbnbs be active for many years? Well, probably because it's a pretty profitable market. So that weighed into my analysis as well. Now we got the market. Now we're going to come in our funnel, and now we're going to look at the micro neighborhood. A micro neighborhood is a very specific part of a city that's going to give you the highest profitability for whatever reason. Ideally, you want to know that reason, but I have a tool for you that's going to tell us where that micro neighborhood is without us actually knowing. Now, of course, it is better to know, but this tool is accurate, and so you don't actually need to know. All you need to know is where are the most profitable areas. If we come to the deeper analysis, I'm going to show you what that map looks like. All right, so here is Rockford, Illinois, and this is from, this is from Price Labs. It is their market dashboard, I think, and you can see, so the red here, the red means good, green is bad here, red is profitable. You can see that something is going on in this area. Now, Boston is a really interesting area. Now, look, we've got very specific zones right here. I would even consider this light red an area, over here and here. Now, these are my micro neighborhoods. This tool is so cool. I'm in Medellin right now, and I am probably the most familiar with this market of any market in the whole world. And I want to show you my market dashboard for this neighborhood to prove my point. This is an essential tool for me. These market dashboards. Honestly, I forget how much they are. I think you get 2 for free with my code, which is optimized. But what you're going to see on this map as it's loading is you're going to see a very clearly defined zone of red, which is profitable, and green, which is unprofitable. And after we see that, I'm going to tell you why that is, and it's going to click for you. All right, here is my Medellin market dashboard. Let's zoom in here, and it's going to become very clear. So you see that? You see there's like a line of red. That's a pretty obvious area. Now, why is that? The reason why that is because there's something called Parque Lleras right here. Everyone who's coming to Medellin knows that park. They know that they want to stay near that park. Of all the city, there's one zone where you want to be, and that's it. And it's right here in that red. There's obviously, a zone you want to be around that park. But the reason why this is green up here is because that's a hill, okay? This is a hill. This is a main road here, and this is a main road here. That's why those are also red. This is Parque Lleras all the way around here. Belmonte is here, and this is another kind of a neat zone, but there's more green there because the travelers there are younger crowds, so they have less money to spend. If I didn't know that, though, it doesn't matter. All that I need to know is where are the profitable zones, micro neighborhoods in this market, and this map tells me that. Okay, so from the last section, identifying the market, we got market data. What's the average market home value? What's the average revenue? Okay, now on this tab, in addition to the micro neighborhood, we also are going to figure out what size home do we want. So we get market data for size home, and we look at the occupancy and the ADR, and we estimate revenue with that. Okay, so in this particular one, I am seeing that the 2-bedroom and the 5-bedroom are the most profitable zones, are the most profitable of size homes. Now, this 5-year payback period, this is one of my 2 key metrics that I go over in another video. But I know now what size home I want, 2 or 5 bedrooms, and you're going to see a trend where the larger homes are typically going to be the better homes because there's less people buying them. Now, I know what zone I want to buy in micro neighborhood, and I know what size home I want. Now we come to the third part, which is the most fun, and that is running the numbers. Now, the reason why this is fun is because a lot of investors get anxious around this area because they don't actually know what to pay. They're not sure how much to offer. And I'm going to solve that problem for you now. I'm going to tell you my strategy and how much I would offer, and a real life offer that I made. made. So if we come over to offer analysis here, remember that one in New York? This was actually that number in New York. And let me take a step back here. If we go to deeper analysis, and then when I'm really serious about a market, I'll drill in a little bit more. I'll actually go to Airbnb and I'll look at as close to my competition as well. That should be like 5 or 10 homes. Remember, we're talking 5 bedrooms plus. This particular one had 8 bedrooms. So I go in and I look at things, does it have a pool or a lake? What are the reviews like? What's the interior like on a scale of 1 to 3? Metrics from all the rooms, AirDNA and Price Labs. Metric from all the rooms. And this green one, this was the one that I was like, this is the most similar in terms of proximity, in terms of amenities. And look, these 3 tools are estimating their revenue between 153 and 206. That's for this listing. The listing that is in question that I offered on, the revenue I predicted to be 150 to 250,000. So for my offer analysis, I used about 200,000. The asking price in this case was 1.2 million. So I ended up offering $920,000. Now, a sneak peek to that payback period. I want that number to be 5 or less. So that's how I know what I need to offer. So here it's 5.9. I need to get below that. So I offered 920, gets me my payback period to 4.5 years. Although I could have offered up to just over $1 million to satisfy that metric. Now this process does take time, but we're talking big money here. $200,000 a year for 5, maybe 10 years, plus potential appreciation. It's worth your time. Compare that to, unfortunately, what happens with a lot of hosts is they listen to someone, some expert or some real estate agent who they trust, and they buy a home and then they make a bad investment because they don't really know exactly what the numbers mean. They rely too much on this real estate agent, and then all of a sudden, they're making $8,000 a month, but their expenses are $6,000, and that's not in a great place to be. In this video, I've went through my process and I want to summarize it for you now. So the first section is identifying your market. That's super broad. Now, you can use those lists online, top 25 most profitable markets. Use it as a starting point, but you need to be the output, okay? That's what I always say. The data comes in, you're the output. Those lists, a lot of hosts use as the output. But if you don't know where those numbers came from and what assumptions were made, then that list becomes less useful. But you can use it as an input, read the reason why it's on that list, and then plug it into your spreadsheet and run the numbers. And if it passes that first test, then we go down to a deeper market analysis where we look at profitability or revenue per room size. And then we look at Price Labs market dashboard to figure out where is the micro neighborhood, okay? Now we have the market, we've got the micro neighborhood, and we've got the size of the home. Now the last thing is running the numbers on the short-term rental that you find. Now we created that revenue estimate from the data tools, and then we're further refining that estimate by going on Airbnb and looking at the competition. And we're taking notes all the way through the process so we're not forgetting any data points. And finally, that allows us to know exactly what we can offer on a particular home. One more piece of advice is that when you're going through this process, you never want to just have one property that you're making an offer on, because that puts you in a poor negotiating position, because you think about all the time you've done to get this one property. The owner knows that. They've been through the same process. They fell in love with the property. If it's just one property, you're really at a disadvantage. So you want to go through this process for at least a few properties that are equally as good to you, and you want to make offers pretty quickly in succession. You can let them know, the owners know that you're the first offer, but I have 2 others lined up, So now remember, the most important thing you can do, hosts, to set yourself up for success, all but guaranteed in the short-term rental industry, is choosing the right STR in the right micro neighborhood in the right market.